Now over to Warren. So Warren's basically our offshore expert in foreign shares. He's been running a couple of model portfolios quite successfully, and so we're looking forward to your insights on making money offshore, or not losing money offshore, which is, I think, more interesting. Thanks, Warren.
Great. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming out tonight and taking the time to be with us. My name is Warren Savidson. I'm a portfolio manager at Afrifocus. I've been a portfolio manager since 2007 and started investing for myself on the local stock exchange in 1995 and been involved ever since. So tonight I'd like to talk about the offshore portfolios that we have on offer through Afrifocus. Just to talk about a bit about why Afrifocus. We have over 2,700 clients with over 2 billion rand in assets under administration. We're a member of the Johannesburg Stock Exchange since 2000, and we're an authorized financial services provider. In terms of the services that we offer, we offer full discretion or managed portfolios, advisory portfolios, and non-discretionary portfolios. So just to explain a bit more what that actually means, the discretionary portfolios is where you give us authority to manage the portfolio on your behalf. We make all the decisions in terms of what to buy and what to sell. For an offshore portfolio, we do that locally and offshore. For the offshore side, it's a minimum of $50,000. We do charge 1% per annum, and that's for someone who doesn't necessarily have the time or possibly the knowledge to manage their own portfolio. An advisory portfolio, that's for someone who does have a bit of time and expertise in the markets, but they'd like to build a relationship with a portfolio manager and possibly ask questions before they go and buy. Maybe they're not quite sure, they've heard something from a friend, should I buy this, should I not buy that, but they want to speak to someone first before making the decision. Then they're welcome to call us up and we'll have a discussion before investing. And then finally, we have the non-discretionary portfolios. So that's for people that do have the time and the knowledge. They don't really need a portfolio manager or anyone to speak to. They want to do it on their own. And for those type of clients, we give them the platforms that we have, the various platforms. We've got DMA for offshore, Velocity Trader for offshore and local, and the traditional Afrifocus website. As Eugene said, you can go onto the Afrifocus website and trade yourself. In that case, there's no management or advice fee, but you do pay brokerage each time you buy and sell. So let's discuss the offshore portfolio. We obviously over the years see a lot of clients wanting to take their money offshore, and we've partnered up with DMA. DMA use the Saxo Bank platform. They've hooked up with Saxo Bank, which is a Danish company. Your shares are actually held with Citibank in safe custody. If you take your money out and convert it into dollars or euros or pounds and invest it through DMA, it never has to come back to South Africa. So if after a few years you decide to cash out your investment, it can go into a bank account that you have overseas. If anything up to R1 million, you don't need approval, a tax clearance certificate. Anything more than R1 million, you would need to get a tax clearance certificate. However, if you don't want to wait for that tax clearance certificate, we do have the asset swap facility through DMA, so you can take a lot more money than the R1 million without waiting for the tax clearance certificate. We've also partnered up with Sanlam Glacier International, and they've also got an asset swap facility. The asset swap facility is also useful if you want to put your portfolio in the name of a company or a trust. So in terms of what you can buy on DMA, it's basically all the shares listed in the United States, Canada, China, Hong Kong, the UK, most European countries and Australia, as well as exchange-traded funds. So it's a vast universe. There are over 9,000 companies listed in the USA alone, plus thousands in the other countries as well. I'll get to how we pick which ones shortly. But first of all, why do people invest offshore? Why do you want to take your money offshore? And I think this graph is a bit self-explanatory. The dollar rand, the rand to the dollar has depreciated significantly over the last many, many years. This is a 10-year graph going back to 2008. In 2008, it is below 7 rand to the dollar. It's now, we're sitting at over 17 rand to the dollar. So currency depreciation is a big factor, especially if you ever are considering immigrating possibly, or maybe making payments overseas. Perhaps you're sending your children to study overseas, for example. And then here's just a visual example of what it looks like. This is one of my clients' portfolios that has a non-discretionary portfolio. He's decided to buy some very well-known companies, Louis Vuitton, McDonald's, Meta, which is Facebook, Microsoft, Netflix, Nike, Tesla, Walt Disney, etc. Just a point I want to note here, this portfolio is in US dollars, but you can see some of the companies are listed in other countries. So Ivanhoe Mines is a Canadian company listed on the Canadian Stock Exchange. Although you can see it's in Canadian dollars, Louis Vuitton is in euro. The system automatically converts it back to US dollars for you, all automatically, which is quite nice. Here's another example of one of my clients. He has a portfolio of over $1 million, and he chose to invest only in exchange-traded funds. He didn't want to have individual stocks, and these exchange-traded funds cover almost any investment theme you can think of. In his case, he's got base metals, bonds, biotechnology, geographies such as Europe, United States real estate, even interesting things like electric vehicles and driving technology. So any theme that you can think of there's an ETF for it. So for example, in terms of asset classes, if you don't want to only have equities, you can have money market. This is a US money market ETF run by BlackRock. BlackRock is the largest fund manager in the world. This particular ETF has got over $20 billion invested in it. So that's on the asset class side. If we look at geographies, this is an India exchange-traded fund. It's also managed by BlackRock. So if you're not quite sure if you want to get exposure to India, but you're not quite sure which companies to invest in, they can do it for you, and it's across all different sectors, energy, information, technology, etc. Then there are lots of other ETF providers as well, besides BlackRock. This is a company called Global X, and a theme on lithium and battery technology, and they invest in all companies involved in that theme. So that's what we call passive investing when you invest in exchange-traded funds. If you want a more actively managed portfolio, we can do it for you. We like to differentiate ourselves from our competitors in that we don't only stick to the large mega cap companies. As mentioned previously, there are only over 9,000 companies listed in the USA alone, plus many thousands of others around the world. So how do we select a portfolio of between 10 and 20 companies? Because we can't have too many. With too much diversification, you're not going to get too much return. So what we do is we select companies that we believe will outperform by using a screening methodology. So the companies that we select must meet all these criteria. So we're looking for companies with value, with growth, with profitability, where the professional analysts are revising up the earnings per share revisions. Then we also employ stop losses just in case things go wrong. It doesn't always work out the way we plan, and that's to really mitigate risk. Plus we diversify over between 10 to 20 companies. So we can also tailor-make a portfolio for you. For example, if you have a lower risk appetite, we can put a portion of the portfolio into money market or bonds or property. If you don't have the $50,000 to invest straight away, we have partnered up with Sanlam Glacier, so we can invest a part of your pension fund, provident fund, or living annuity, which can go into a managed portfolio, which we can manage for you. And then there are also tax and estate planning benefits to using the Glacier International platform. This is just a visual example of one of our managed share portfolios. There are companies in here that you probably haven't heard of. Like I said, there are 1,000, but we've picked ones like this Daqo New Energy, which does polysilicon, which is used in solar power. We've got Hudson Technologies in the refrigerant services sector in the United States, specialty pharmaceutical companies. There's Puma Biotechnology. They've recently had an approval by the FDA for their cancer research, so that's quite an exciting one, and many others. So, just to understand how exciting this can get, here's a little quiz. Who can guess the answer? In the last 27 years, which company listed in the USA has generated a total return of 260,000%, making it the best performing S&P 500 stock of the past 3 decades? Can anyone guess? Say? GameStop. No, it's not GameStop. Anyone else?
One spaghetti.
It's not Apple. Not Microsoft. Not Amazon. But close. Amazon is right up there. That's one of the best. It's in the top 5. Okay, so the answer is, drumroll, Monster Beverage Company. So you guys probably have seen these Monster beverages, and you've probably had some of them. I haven't myself, but what they did was they did a deal with Coca-Cola that took a 19% stake in their company in return for making Coca-Cola their primary global distributor. A $10,000 investment in this company in 1995 would now be worth more than $26 million. And the coolest thing about this, I think, is that it was started by 2 native South Africans from Johannesburg, both Wits graduates. They immigrated to Los Angeles, and they bought a company called Hanson Natural in 1992, which later changed the name to Monster Beverage. So it's not only Elon Musk that's outperformed there. If you are interested in going ahead with an offshore portfolio, the admin involved is just ready to give me a shout, and I can send you the account opening documentation, or Charmaine. Once the document's filled out, we just check it to make sure everything's there. We then send it to DMA. They will then open the portfolio for you. Once it's opened, we send you their bank details. It's with HSBC. So as mentioned, you can do it in US dollars, you can do it in euros, pounds, Canadian dollars, Australian dollars. The money gets sent across. You can ask your bank to do the conversion for you and send it across. If your bank gives you hassles or you're not sure how to do it, we can open up an account for you with Capitec Mercantile, and they can do the conversion for you. Once the money's there, we let you know. If you're managing it yourself, then we will give you the software or the app, and you can go and trade it by yourself. If we're managing it for you, we'll then invest it appropriately. In all cases, you'll have access to the platform, so you'll always be able to see exactly how your portfolio is doing. And all the reports that you need are there for tax reporting purposes, and you're more than welcome to give me a call at any time, should you need assistance. In terms of the time horizon, any share portfolio, ideally you want to invest for as long as possible. However, life happens, and if you do need the money, it's just a matter of giving us a call. We cash it out for you, and you can have your money back within about a week. There are no penalties. In terms of taxes, we're not allowed to give tax advice, but typically my clients, they would pay capital gains tax and income tax on their share portfolio. In terms of the fees and costs, there is brokerage or commission charged every time you buy or sell shares. The DMA charge a 0.5% platform fee. If you use the Glacier International platform to invest your pension or provident fund, they would also charge a platform fee. In the case